Monty Python and the Holy Grail features all of Monty Python, mainly King Arthur trying to find the Holy Grail after given instructions by God, and the rest of the film is the quest of Camelot with the usual hilarious Monty Python sketches. The first draft of the script came together in 1973, and originally was going to have half the film set in the Middle Ages and half in the present day, but this was scrapped. As they got to the fourth draft of the screenplay, the guys thought it would just be hilarious if they don't even manage to retrieve the Holy Grail. It'd make the ending a huge letdown and a massive anti-climax. Like my ex-wife.
No. Oh no!
The movie was shot mostly in Scotland and it was pretty much a nightmare. The outfits were mostly made out of wool, and filming in the cold land of Scotland, most of the actors were freezing cold and wet. To add on to it, the hotel had a limited amount of baths and hot water, so after each shoot the actors would rush back to try to get there first. The cast hated producing this movie and have always said they think the second film was way better.
I can understand that.
Furthermore, Graham Chapman was fighting a severe alcohol addiction, so when he got to set, he was shocked to discover that there was none on set and it was too far to get some. Very often he kept forgetting lines or was constantly shaking, but he would however end up beating the addiction around 3 years after this film's release.
This is supposed to be a happy occasion!
Originally, Terry Gilliam showed the film at some advanced screenings, but he realised some scenes got less of a laugh with the music, so he edited them out. And then, without the score, they came across a lot funnier. So he did the same for most of the picture. Funding was also a huge issue. Pink Floyd were big fans of the show, so they actually helped fund it with the money they made from their album The Dark Side of the Moon, but there were still issues. Originally, they were going to be riding real horses, but they couldn't afford them, so they instead mimicked the action with someone behind them clapping coconuts together. The ending was also done that way because they genuinely couldn't afford a big battle scene, but honestly it only adds to the charm of the film.
That's awfully nice of you.
I mean, what other movie could have such entertaining opening credits? These are hilarious, and they're only the opening titles. I mean, apparently this film, including this opening, contains 527 jokes, which is on average one joke every 10.5 seconds. It features the same long dragged out gags that Monty Python are known for, but like usual, they don't outstay their welcome.
Make sure the prince doesn't leave this room until I come and get him.
Not to leave the room, even if you come and get him.
No, until I come and get him.
Until you come and get him, we're not to enter the room.
No. You stay in the room and make sure he doesn't leave.
And you'll come and get him.
Right.
We don't need to do anything apart from just stop him entering the room.
No. Leaving the room.
Leaving the room, yes.
Obviously there's the famous flesh wound scene, which is beyond hysterical, and the gore for such a low budget comedy is actually really impressive. Hell, only Monty Python could make a massacre at a goddamn wedding funny. And for a film that's clearly just a spoof, it actually is quite historically accurate.
How do you know she is a witch? She looks like one! Yeah, she looks like one!
And I love that there's a quotable line in almost every scene. I found it difficult to choose which ones to show you in this video because I can't show you all of them, but so many are so good. There's also great fourth wall jokes. As well as a storybook, a random historian starts being the narrator and then randomly gets killed off before his wife runs on set. It makes no sense and is so random, which is when Monty Python best shines.
Do you think the scene should have been cut? We were so worried when the boys were writing it, but now we're glad.
They also constantly make fourth wall jokes about their own music. It's just pure comedy genius, and I wish they made them like this today. I love the self-deprecating humour. It's one of my favourite kinds of comedy, and Monty Python pioneered that.
Camelot.
It's only a model.
Shh.
They have obviously fake-looking animals to save money, and they also make excuses for their own random cheap animation.
When suddenly, the animator suffered a fatal heart attack. The cartoon peril was no more.
They do this huge build-up to this genius plan of building this wooden obstruction to sneak inside their castle, Troy style, but then they forget to put themselves in. This is hilarious. There's even a cop car in medieval times. This is brilliant. In fact, John Cleese said one thing he regrets is that one unused scene had a coat that clearly was from modern times and it was accidentally left in the frame. He wished they kept it in. Also, because there were so many talented comedians involved, of course ad-libs were going to happen. Most famously, John Cleese, when pressed for his name, was supposed to come out with this long, complicated one, but completely forgot it, so he came out with this instead.
Tim?
So much so, Eric Idle had to bite his scythe here to stop himself from laughing at John Cleese and ruining the entire shot. And what I love is, even when the film has flaws, it kind of embraces them. The film has a few songs which for the most part are funny, but this one is just really random and out of place. I mean, I know that's Monty Python's whole shtick, but I just think this is the only one that doesn't really work.
Can we come up and have a look? Of course not. You are English type, sir. Well, what are you then? I'm French. Why do you think I have this outrageous accent, you silly king?
Still better than Ewan McGregor's accent. So here, some nurses start removing his trousers and he resists. It looks like it's turned into a goddamn porno, but why does he run out? Because moments later, the others insist on him spanking and having sex with them all, and he's really into the idea all of a sudden. And it's not common for Monty Python to miss a great joke opportunity, but they do. Yeah, I'm critiquing Monty Python and giving them tips on comedy. Don't unsubscribe.
Mind your own business!
As shown earlier, the guards are given this long explanation to not let this guy out of the door. After all that build-up, wouldn't it have been just hilarious if he simply leapt out the window and it's revealed it's only 1 floor high or something? Tell me that wouldn't have been hilarious. Instead, he writes something down and clearly only writes for like 5 seconds, and yet when his letter arrives, it's a full description of where he is. And then when his rescuer shows up, he climbs out the window slowly. Why didn't he do this before? So they come across some knights who can't stand the word it.
No, far from it.
Is that the word again?
I was looking for it. Here in this forest.
No, it is far from this house.
I guess they saw the future, saw Stephen King's work, and shuddered at the thought. Also, how do people describe the monster if nobody ever lives to tell the tale? They walk through the ocean from the castle despite previously sailing to it. He gives this big speech to the castle as if they can hear him from that distance. And the ending is terribly awesome. Like I say, the film embraces these flaws. Every inconsistency is dealt with perfectly and seems fully self-aware. And the ending is no exception. They're all charging for battle and then modern day police show up, arrest everyone and shut the cameras off. And that's it! The ending is so bad, it's brilliant. I think the reason I find Life of Brian better is because that one was hilarious start to finish. Now, not to say this one isn't, I just feel like the overall joke of this film kind of ran dry. After a while, the joke dragged, whereas Life of Brian had enough material to continue for the entire movie. Regardless, Monty Python and the Holy Grail still remains a comedy classic and one for any comedy fan to add to their collection.